Hello, everybody. The Army of Light Earth Division. It's Shawna L. Francis. Today is November 28th, 2023. It's so good to be speaking with you. Thanks for letting me take last week off. It feels like forever since I made a video for everybody. So again, I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching, for subscribing, for liking, for commenting. My heart goes out to your heart. Absolutely in sync here with all of you. I can really just feel this bond with this beautiful collective that we have, all of you who find yourselves drawn to this information. Some of you have been with me for 3.5 years since I started this YouTube channel. Amazing. I could never have dreamt this for myself. I had no idea when I started on my awakening journey 5.5 years ago now that I'd be in this position, being able to speak with all of you and channeling these beautiful beings and bringing forth this information that's truly awe-inspiring. I feel so blessed and feel so lucky. I feel so loved and supported. And I want you to all feel that same way, because you all deserve that. From my heart to your heart. Thank you, team. Today, there's a lot to go through, actually. It's going to be a bit of a hodgepodge. I do have channeling from Melchizedek from a couple of days ago for the book, and I just loved this channeling. I loved this channeling. I had 2 instances with the Halls of Amenti, whereby, really, guys, I need to bring this to you so you can help me transmute this darkness, as my witness. The team has helped elevate my field here. I had this big activation a few weeks ago, and things are really different for me. I'm really feeling it. Things are good. I'm pinching myself. But they warned me, you're preparing for some more, basically, disclosure of my past, things that I did when I was a negative reptilian for many, many lifetimes. My oversoul had many aspects, many lives that were of negative reptilian, and I was one of the leaders, I guess, in this regime at one point. And for the last 200,000 years, so they've told me, I am repenting this. I am balancing my karma, and coming forth with this information, with this disclosure about the negative reptilians, is a huge part of what I'm doing in this lifetime as part of my mission. But anyway, there are 2 instances, a small story and a longer story, of kind of what's happened to me in my past that I would love to tell you about. Tough stuff. And then I had 2 activations today from Melchizedek, 2 minor, I'd say minor compared to what happened a few weeks ago, but still major in their own ways. And I want to tell you about those things because they've told me that these activations are now available for all of you. So happens to me, it's basically bringing these to you as well. So one for the 3rd eye and one for the throat chakra. That's about it. There's a lot, but before I get started in all this, I want to just take 1 minute or so just to talk about the merchandise. Have you spent all of your Christmas money buying gifts for other people? I think it's really time you get on the ARMYOFLIGHT.STORE, get on our merchandise store, and buy yourself something fun for the holidays. I want to show you this t-shirt that I just got in, and I designed this. Unicorns and rainbows. Unicorns and rainbows. This comes in 3 colors and kind of these pastel-y colors, and I think they're $27. Did you all see my light worker hat here? So this here, Army of Light on the back. I just lowered the price of this from $38 to $28. It's embroidered, and they come in different colors, many different colors. Please check this out. I've got really cool things like these cork-backed coasters, and I think these run about $8 each. I've got a bunch of those. Trinity, my psilocybin mushroom farm business. I have t-shirts, gang. There's the logo. Here's the front. I've got t-shirts and sweatshirts on the Army of Light store. by the way, it's going well. I'm moving forward with the city. I'm getting fingerprinted tomorrow, get a background check going, but all this paperwork with the city is moving forward finally. I'm hoping in January I'll actually be starting this business in earnest. I'm so excited. And for those who have been with me a long time, recognize Crete here. This is an ascension symbol. Here's one of the purses. Can you tell I just had so much fun with this stuff? A ribbed beanie here with the Trinity logo on it. These are just some things that I had laying around. A couple more, guys, and then I swear I'll be done. Don't forget about this guy. So Army of Light Galactic Division sweatshirt. These run $50. And then last but not least, in many different colors, we have the Army of Light Earth Division sweatshirts for $50 as well. Okay, so don't forget about the Army of Light store and buying something fun for yourself or for a loved one. I know these are kind of weird, maybe a little bit out there for some people, but all kinds of fun stuff. I think I've got 120 items in the store. So please, please, please have a look, ARMYOFLIGHT.STORE, or go to ShawnaLFrancis.com and hit shop. Okay, I'm going to get into this from Melchizedek here, channeling for the book. All right. Where we plan to take you next, as mentioned before, is not a place many humans have gone previously. This information is relatively new to this plane of existence. It's not something that has been studied deeply, and for good reason. Your captors do not wish for you to know the truth of them. Man, I mean, to hear Melchizedek call the negative reptilian regime our captors, this is really starting to hit home. I mean, they are not mincing words here, and we're ready, right? So our collective here, you've heard me talk about, channel about the negative reptilians now for a couple of years. I've talked about this from the very beginning, being a big part of why I'm here in this lifetime, in this mission, awakening, helping everybody else awaken to this, bringing forth this information. It's huge, like I said. All right, and they continue here. More so, they do not want you to know the truth of yourselves. This is the true threat to their existence. It's you knowing who you are and understanding your power as a sovereign being in embodiment at this level of existence. You are powerful, friends. You hold the key to unlocking the greatest and most significant show of force that has ever been witnessed on this planet Earth. We are not talking about a miracle here. This isn't some voodoo magic that's going to require casts and spells and reading of tea leaves and gazing into crystal balls. Dear ones, this is science. This is frequency. This is intention. And this is powerful, they said. Love. At once the equalizing force and a transformational force. Let there be no confusion or uncertainty, even trepidation, about the power that love can wield. You thought this would be a book about the negative reptilian influence, and of course it is, but more importantly, we are here to help you understand the power that you hold to transform darkness to light, to completely rebirth the species, to make lasting and significant changes that will impact future generations here on Earth. Wow, how cool is this? And they say here, you may say, well, I'm just so tired. I've been at this for so long. Somebody, please just take the wheel and drive us through the finish line. I need a break. I'm spent. Dear ones, we hear this. We feel a level of exhaustion within some of you that must not be ignored, but instead seen for what it is, acknowledged and surpassed. We as Melchizedek see this as not a lifelong crippling emotion, but as more of a collective blip. Always, the runner of a marathon has to push through the last stretch before crossing the finish line. Always it's the last several feet that are the hardest, the most challenging, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And it does require a conscientious decision and clear intentions to muster up the energy and the fortitude to go all the way, friends. Take your breaks, they said. Breathe deeply and rest. Replenish yourselves in the best way that you know how. Nurture thyself. Pamper thyself. What do you need in this moment to restock the coffers, to fill the glass, to bulk up on supplies? What do you need to do? Where do you need to go? Who do you need to see in order to make this happen? Know thyself, one and all. Free thyself. Put yourself first. Visualize your strength coming back. Visualize love pouring into your heart, and allow yourself to be buoyed. Allow us to hold you and to cradle you as a mom would her newborn child. Allow yourself to be held. Allow yourself to be loved. And know that you are worthy. So anyway, that was from the book, channeled 2 days ago, Melchizedek. Again, I feel like, these 532 words just summarize perfectly where we all need to be. And this is this understanding that love is so powerful, not to dismiss it, not to give up on it. How do you restock yourselves, guys? How do you build yourselves back up? How do you get your energy back? How do you, what do you do to make sure that you are, energized through this process and not feeling depleted? It's time to be selfish. I've been saying that a long time. I think especially as light workers, we tend to want to make sure that everybody else is okay. Everybody in our world is okay. I certainly know that that was true for me. A lot of times we're the nucleus of whatever, kind of ecosystem of friends and family we have around us, because we have a lot of light. We have, people are drawn to this energy. But now's the time to really be selfish. Put yourselves first, guys. It's okay. It's okay. You're doing this out of love for yourself. And that's hugely important, right? Unconditional love for yourself. It's where everything starts. I actually saw that Aubrey Marcus had Paul Selig on for an interview a few days ago. And I listened to the whole thing as I walked down the river a couple of days ago. And it was really just excellent. Aubrey Marcus is quite the student of the guides. He is into it. I'd love to be on that show if anybody knows anybody over there. I'd love to be on Alex Ferrari. These guys, he's got Paul Selig on there all the time. Maybe as the book gets a little bit closer, and I can send them copies of where the book's at. It'll be interesting to them. But, these guys are they're into Paul Selig. They're into Melchizedek. They know this work. They know all the mantras. They have read the books. It's a big deal. And they each have 500,000 followers. So imagine that, guys. Jeff Reynolds, Jeff Mara podcast. I've reached out to him, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll get that scheduled with Jeff. I wanted to get back from Mexico, but he has said yes to a second interview. My first interview with him was on December 3rd, 2021, almost exactly 2 years ago. What's happened in your world in 2 years? I know it's been a hell of a ride for me. My goodness. All right, moving on. I'm going to tell you the first thing that kind of happened with the Halls of Amenti. And again, I mentioned that, they're telling me there's more to come, Shawna. We're raising your vibration here so you can handle this kind of thing. And so what came through, and this was November 20th, this was the first time that I'd seen a vision that actually had a current family member in it. And it was a little freaky. And I see what's going on here. So this is my oldest son, who recently had the seizure. I've talked about him recently. I I also think he's got something to do with a similar type of mission, and he's just getting awakened to that. We'll see what happens, but he's had some interesting visions, some interesting dreams. He's talking to his guides. So there's some really cool stuff happening for him. All right, so I'm getting into the Halls of Amenti all the time. I get into the Halls of Amenti before I go to bed. I get out when I get up in the morning. I'm in it for another hour or two during the day. So really, and then on top of that, I'm channeling and working with Melchizedek, a lot of energy work still. A couple of months now with these guys. They've become so familiar to me and so accessible. And since the big activation a few weeks ago, I'm really able to hear them more clearly, feel them, and just much more in sync with their fields. And it's just been just so fun and magical and beautiful. Unicorns and rainbows. Anyway, this vision here. So I get into the Halls of Amenti and I start seeing my son, and I recognize him. He looks just how he looks in this lifetime, and he's kind of motioning and he's doing something strange and he's kind of going like this, and he seems to be in a lot of distress. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And to be quite honest, I kind of dismissed it to begin with because I hadn't had a vision like this in the halls for several weeks, maybe even a couple of months. So he's doing this, and that vision doesn't go away; it persists. So in this vision, I'm kind of trying to follow what he's pointing to or what he's doing, and I'm not quite getting it. But I go and I kneel down and I'm looking at the ground and I'm seeing it's like dirt and there's a hole, and I'm seeing like this little animal's head come up out of the dirt. It's kind of the size of maybe a beaver or something. So it's bigger than a rat or a mole, but it's like this little furry brown animal that's sticking out of this. And I kind of pan out and I see my son over here, and on the other side of me, here appears, you can only guess, a huge negative reptilian who brings up a sword, and as I'm bending over perfectly in alignment here for this being, he lops my head off with this sword. And my son sees the whole thing. He sees the whole thing and is devastated. And when I panned out my perception here of what was going on, I see that I'm youngish and I have white skin and dark hair that's kind of coming down both sides here. I mean, I look human for sure. It seemed like a human situation, and I couldn't tell. Maybe my son in this lifetime, maybe we were brother and sister or something in this last lifetime. I couldn't quite understand what the relationship was there. I don't know that it was a mother-son situation or not, but so this negative reptilian had put in my mind, like, to look at the ground and to see that was all an illusion. That was all just a mental construct to get me to, basically get on my knees and make it really easy for this being to chop my head off with this sword. And talking to the Halls of Amenti guide after this vision, he said that this isn't impacting my son in this lifetime with anxiety. Like, this happened around the time he turned 30 in that last lifetime, and he's bringing some anxiety to this lifetime. Sorry for the stop, team. My phone's running out of juice. Anyway, so I sat down with my son and I just really, was telling him, there's no reason to bring any of this feeling or anxiety or memories to this current lifetime that we're in right now, that we are fully protected, fully loved, watched over, supported, and nothing bad can happen to us now. He can let go of any of those residual affects of what he had seen that day. And the next day I told my son about this, that I had seen this vision and we talked about it. So that came to the surface. That was the end of that. And then this next thing here that happened. Okay, so this was November 25th, a few days ago here. It's been busy. Energetically, it's been a busy couple weeks. All right, again, they've been warning me, Shawna, some hard stuff's going to be coming. Okay. My Uncle John, who used to be Max, now it's coming through. He also warned me this is going to be hard. I knew this was coming. I knew this was going to be a vision coming. They had warned me. So I sat down fully prepared for something awful to really come through. And it was pretty bad. I'm going to try to summarize this and not drag this out too long here. But I sat down and I immediately just start seeing some black, inky, like just blackness, darkness come into my field. And I thought I got a glimpse of like the Grim Reaper, always, not always signifying bad, could be just rebirth and that kind of thing. But I think in this case, this was really representing death. And I felt my energy just wah, 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 wah. I don't even know how to explain it, but just kind of get deeper and more intense, where I'm losing more of me sitting on the couch here, meditating. I'm now kind of more in this field, in that, having that consciousness. So soon I'm hearing crackling, I'm hearing fire, I'm smelling smoke, and I start to see the flames through kind of this inky blackness. And I realize that there are bodies burning. These are bodies being burned. We're talking about piles and piles of dead bodies being burned. And I just had to get my bearings. Just, oh my goodness. And I could imagine what the smell was like, like I could just, and it was really just quite devastating to see this, to realize that this fire, that these are bodies that have been set on fire, dead bodies. And I'm talking men, women, children, just really awful. And then I'm hearing Sunday, Bloody Sunday by U2 starts playing. I think this is so bizarre. Sunday, Bloody Sunday. So my brain immediately wanted to just go to, okay, did I have something to do with Ireland? U2, I don't know much about Sunday, Bloody Sunday, but I believe it was about an actual event where there was a lot of killing in Ireland. And I did a little bit of looking this up, but this song persisted. It wasn't like I could get rid of it. This cry for justice, and to like, how long do we have to sing this song? How long do we have to put up with this? The death and destruction. And I pulled up the lyrics, and I looked into this a little bit more from U2's perspective, and they're just talking about, really, it's not about any one event, and it's not about Ireland, but it's just about senseless death. This whole knowing ourselves as separate from divinity, separate from each other, and not understanding that we are all one, all of source. And you're really just denying that divinity, and the wars, the killing, the senseless killing, just, this has got to stop. How long must we sing this song? So then that kind of faded away, the smoke cleared, and then it was just kind of gray. And I find myself like walking on these bones, and the ash and the dirt, and kind of like in the middle of this field of where the bodies had been burned. And I am just I'm just in awe of it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what did I have to do with this? How is this happening? I didn't even want to be there, but I thought, okay, this is so important. This is what they've been preparing me for several weeks now, right? So I just really need to be here in this moment, really be present. So I'm kind of walking along these bones, and I fall into a hole, and I land at the bottom of this cavern, and just with this little tiny light above, but I've landed on the ground in this dark cave. Once again, in a cave. I've had a lot of these kinds of visions. So I just decide I'm going to just sit there. So I sat down and got in prayer position, and I just held the space, not knowing what I was doing down there or what was coming. So I start hearing animals, and feeling them around me, two or three of these animals. And the way I would describe it is that they were kind of like wolves, but they had horns. They had really big front haunches, like big chests and big front legs. And they were snorting, and I just sensed like evil and anger coming off these animals. And I just sat there and I'm just observing. And at one point, these animals start fighting and like, attacking each other right through my body. Like I'm sitting there and they're just all right in my space doing their thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I I just was holding the light. All I could do was just hold the light, hold love, and just be present for whatever this was. All right. So one of these things. Oh, by the way, I realized later that they had hooves. So while it seemed like a wolf, it seemed to have horns. It seemed to have hooves. So I don't know what I don't know what this was. It's not like anything I'd ever seen before. It was quite scary, actually. So those guys go away. One of them stays and he turns into a man, a naked white guy with blonde hair. So this guy gets down in my face and he says, what do you think? You can just come down here and wave your arms and all of this will be better? And then I had this knowing in this moment that this death, this destruction, the suffering, all of this is trapped in the field. And somehow by my existence, I'm somehow helping to maintain this field by memory, by consciousness, by something. Even though I'm not consciously aware of what happened here in this lifetime, a part of my oversoul is still holding this field, this darkness, this evil. And really, in the tissues of the surface of the earth is how I would describe that. You know how we hold trauma and pain and energy, of course, in our tissues. We are all energy. It's the same idea. Mother Earth holding pain, trauma, this energy in her tissues. And I realized, like, okay, I've got to help transform this energy to light. So this guy was kind of getting in my face and says, who do you think you are? You can't just come in here and just act like you didn't do this. You can't just act like you can come in and fix things. Well, at just that point, I did start waving my arms. My wings came out. I called to my angel family. I did the Ho'oponopono, like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you, thank you. I said it many different ways, many different times, just trying to release this. I visualized this light filling up this entire cavern and all those souls being released up to the heavens and light illuminating out of all these crevices in this cavern and the whole earth. To be honest, I just gave it my all. I gave it my all to just like clear this field out of this energy. At one point, I found myself at the bottom of this ocean where I have seen these massive lavender crystals before, and I've talked about this in my second book. This huge crystal cavern under the ocean that's protected by a dragon. So I haven't been to this place in years. I don't even remember the last time I was with these crystals, but I brought these crystals, this crystal energy up with me. And it was like we were boiling the energy with white crystals, like crystal shards. I can't even describe it, but they worked with me to help clear that field. And it was just really, really powerful. So I did this whole thing, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes worth probably. Talked to the Halls of Amenti guide. He said, you did great, Shawna. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. They wanted to tell me and be very clear that everybody, the Halls of Amenti guide said, Shawna, everyone has the ability to repent. Every single being who has ever had a heartbeat has the ability, the capability to repent and to be reborn and made free. And through your efforts tonight, you released those souls, Shawna. You allowed them their freedom. You allow them to reach their pinnacles, to transcend their darkness. And in turn, they will help illuminate the tissues of the planet as well as they are lifting through resonance. So that was so good to hear. And I'm like, I asked, could you please tell me more about these bodies? What was this? And here's what the guide had to say. Shawna, this is a representation of thousands upon thousands of years of death and destruction, mainly at your hands, dear one. mainly at your hands, dear one. You had plenty of help, Shawna. And these are different aspects of the same oversoul, but you are all one and you all share this burden. It's you, Shawna, in this lifetime and in this moment who has said yes, finally, to releasing this burden and to restoring all the damage back to wholeness. It was so good to hear that. So good to hear that. Awful to hear that this death and destruction happened at my hands. We had help, but this is many aspects of the same oversoul. We all carry this burden. And here in this moment, in this lifetime, I've decided time to clear this out. And thank God I have the ability and the support to do that. And I believe by telling this story to all of you that you also help with the lifting of that energy. So thank you, team. Thanks for being my witness here. All right, 2 activations. This happened just this morning, actually. I wasn't even expecting it. The first one here was an activation to the third eye. And it was really funny because I just get in and I'm connecting with Melchizedek and I watch them kind of insert this big mechanical type looking thing into my third eye. And they're kind of chuckling because it's all just a metaphor here. But basically, if they had said, Shawna, this is going to help with your help broadening your understanding of any given situation. And basically they said, you're going to be seeing things more how we see them from this much broader vantage point. So thankful for that. And basically they said, this is really helping you to see more of the truth at its most basic, helping you see more of the truth. And so all of this will be available for you as well in this collective. The second one came right after this one, and it was more about the throat chakra and opening this up. And I felt all kinds of energy here. And I actually saw a singularity in a human kind of face, a member of Melchizedek coming forward and helping me with this. Excuse me. So super energetic, but basically they said, Shawna, this will help with your self-expression for you speaking your truth, allowing your words to be received, allowing your words to be of truth. Love in the world, love in your words, anchoring light into the throat chakra and adjusting all the frequencies of the body to accommodate this. They said here too, they warned, bringing up your truth may bring up hard things. There could be some things that are under lock and key that are still in the darkest shadows of myself that may want to come forward. They said, expect it could be a mixed bag. It's not going to be all love and light necessarily. As you open up your ability to express yourself, you're bringing your truth forward. And your truth can be a spectrum of all things, not just on the positive side. So they said, yes, Shawna, that's true. You can expect a mixed bags of emotions and expressions coming forward to be seen, to be heard, to be known, to be embraced, and to be transmuted. All right, and I would say too, team, if you want to just ask for these activations for yourselves, and even the big one, go for it. Make your wishes known to the guides. Make them aware of what you're wanting. Express your desires. Put it out there. All right. Thanks, team, for everything. Thanks for getting on and taking a look at the merchandise. I hope you find something there that you like. I love you all so much. You're the best. And please let everybody know how you're doing. Leave some comments down below. All right, team, I do plan to see you in a week. I hope that you are enjoying yourselves and having a great week, and I will talk to you all soon. Mwah.